had been invited to the wedding. When the wine gave out, the mother of Jesus said to him, "They have no wine." And Jesus said to her, "Woman, what concern is that to you and to me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Now, standing there were 6 stone water jars for the Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. And Jesus said to them, "Fill the jars with water." And they filled them up to the brim. And he said to them, "Now draw some out and take it to the chief steward." So they took it. And when the steward tasted the water that had become wine, and did not know where it came from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew, the steward called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves the good wine first, and then the inferior wine after the guests have become drunk. But you have kept the good wine until now." Jesus did this, the first of his signs in Cana of Galilee, and revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. It is very clear that we have a wedding story before us this morning. Every time you get a bunch of preachers together at a retreat or a conference or a week of study leave at the seminary, there's a lot of storytelling. I'm happy to report that so far I've only had one wedding story where there was a touch and go moment. All 306 of the others went just according to plan. On the other hand, I have friends who tell stories of rings slipping out of the best man's hand and right into the heating grate of the chancel. Brides fainting, not once, but twice. A father of the bride who was so nervous that when he was asked who gives this woman to be married to this man, he said, "My mother and I do." See, I can laugh at this now. I hadn't done it yet. And my favorite, when the pastor said, "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here in the presence of God to join this man and this woman in woolly headlock." That is my favorite. John's Gospel is a book filled with symbolism and multiple layers of meaning, written about 70 years or so after Jesus' death and resurrection. It has Jesus' ministry beginning with just such a wedding story. A wedding he attended with his mother and his newly minted disciples. It's a story of potential embarrassment and how Jesus came to save the day. It's a wedding in the Hebrew culture is a very, very special occasion. Anytime, any place, in any culture, they're important, but for the Jews, especially the Jews of Jesus' time, it was perhaps even more special than our weddings today. The ceremony took place late on a Wednesday evening after a feast. And after the ceremony, the young couple was conducted to their new home. By that time, it was dark, and they were carried through the village by holding up street lights and flaming torches, and